I love this God Ray. Can I just take this God Ray home? I just love it because it's just like, blessed be this channel. Hey there, Max. Writing advice Q&A. Today's gonna be a really casual episode. The final episode on, hopefully, on how to max, I guess. A really casual video. Of course, if you haven't caught up on the WWA, I'm at Kitty's place for this week, so the setup is looking really weird. It looks like I'm deep down in a bunker, or you know, in the presence of a godly being. But either way, that can wait. What can't wait is the subject of today's video. If you're unfamiliar with my writing advice Q&As, this is a rough place to start, because it's gonna be a really casual video. But there should be a playlist in the description down below for you to check out way more writing advice. But regardless of that, generally I grab a question and I answer it. For the last 3 weeks though, I've kind of been covering the subject of how to max, the things that I do to be a much more productive person and writer. This week I'm going to be talking about my particular feelings and my experiences with the 5-minute journal, the productivity planner, and the bullet journal, which are 3 particular productivity styles of management that are really popular right now, and I used all 3 of them, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts with them today. Now, this is generally the part of the video in which I would tell you that the following is merely my advice, my opinion, and what works for me. But this is literally just me reviewing these things. I'm not affiliated in any way, shape, or form. This is the original video I wanted to make for the start of the year. I wanted to get this video out of the way. But I ended up talking about how I write so much, and then I ended up talking about my basic format for organizing myself, which was last week's video, how to be a much more organized person. So, in a strange way, we have ended up here after all. So, I'll share my thoughts. I'll first explain what the heck is the 5-minute journal, the productivity planner, and the bullet journal. All these 3 things are 3 organization/management systems that involve writing things by hand. And last year, if you remember following me on Twitter, around August of last year, September, end of August, beginning of September, I was talking on Twitter about how I was going to start using the 5-minute journal. Now, the 5-minute journal, if I remember correctly, is a productivity system and management system created by Intelligent Designs? Or Intelligent Systems? I'll bring it up while I continue on talking. The basis of the 5-minute journal is for you to begin your day by focusing on the things that matter the most. Also, I was wrong. The company that makes 5-minute journal and the productivity planner is called Intelligent Change. That's their name. The 5-minute journal is a check-in kind of system that you don't need to buy their notebooks. You can just use your own notebook, which is what I did. And throughout September, October, November, and December, 4 months, I used it for 4 months. I used the system for the 5-minute journal and the productivity planner, and I would have them like on a page each, and I'll describe how the systems work. The 5-minute journal, it's about you spending 5 minutes of your morning clearing your mind and writing down the things that matter the most. It's broken down into 2 parts. It's broken into 2 parts, the morning cycle and the night cycle. So you're supposed to check in the morning and then at night. For the morning cycle, the very beginning, you write the things that you're grateful for, and just a couple of things that that you're happy for, that make you happy and make you excited to wake up and keep doing things. And I found that to be actually really effective. I liked it. The second step is what would make today great, which I really like that particular step. The least effective is the third step, daily affirmations. I think it's nice, but it can end up being a little bit repetitive. You're supposed to write things out as though you're talking to yourself in the mirror to hype yourself up. It's nice, a little bit repetitive. The night cycle is basically you reviewing by going over the 3 awesome things that happened that day, followed by what could have been better. That's, in a nutshell, the 5-minute journal. You do 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. You check in the morning, then you check in at the end of the day to see what things happened. I think, in principle, it's nice, but it kind of falls short. For me, it fell short for the same reason that the productivity planner fell short. The productivity planner, just to explain the system very quickly, you break down the things you're going to be doing that day into 5 things. The most important, 2 that are kind of important, and then other 2 that are super low priority. You take notes, and at the end of the day, you give yourself a productivity score. The productivity planner was not very effective for me. I used it for a while, and I knew it wasn't gonna work for me because I started immediately changing the system. Because I do a lot of things, and I think the productivity planner is not made for people who are self-employed like me. Because I do a lot of things in the day, and I work a lot, and like a lot of, like, I know that a lot of my VN friends would absolutely relate, where it's just like, okay, I have to do this big thing that is made of like 5 other different tasks, and just to write on one line, make 2 writing advice videos. That says nothing, and for a person who wants to be really organized, that tells you nothing. So the productivity planner was not very effective for me. The 5-minute journal, I like what it was trying to do, but I found that it ended up being a little bit kind of impersonal. The whole setup kind of, it sells itself as though like, hey, write it and then look back on the things you wrote and see how far you've come, and it's kind of impersonal. It's just a bullet list, which is kind of foreshadowing for my thoughts in the bullet journal. It felt really kind of just impersonal, and by the end of December, I had been using the system for 4 months, and I would look back on my notes and I wouldn't feel really attached because I was kind of just writing lists. So to kind of partition my review into 2 halves, I guess, my feelings with the 5-minute journal and the productivity planner was that the productivity planner was not effective for me. It just doesn't work for me and my lifestyle. The 5-minute journal, I like what it's trying to do, particularly the morning phase. The night phase, I seldom really enjoyed, but the morning cycle was just really, really good, to the extent that near the end of December, I was like, okay, what can I do with these systems? What would I like to do with them to make them work for me? So I ended up just going back to longhand, which is something that I haven't done in ages. I haven't written diary entries in ever, but I wanted to look back and be able to read and go, oh yeah, that's what happened that week, or that's what happened that day. So I went back to longhand, and on my diary entries every morning, I start with the 3 steps of the 5-minute journal. What I'm grateful for, what would make today great, which is also really good for organizing my thoughts, and lastly, daily affirmations. I think that that's way more effective writing it longhand, as well with other informations that are timely to that day, as opposed to just kind of just writing them as a list. In principle, I think the 5-minute journal is effective, but in application, though, it just didn't work for me. I want to have that emotional attachment to the diary that I'm writing, and these lists just kind of didn't do it for me. Which brings me over to the bullet journal. And the whole crux of the bullet journal is that the bullet journal has a system of organization for fast note-taking. It has a system for you to write and express your feelings and your ideas and tasks and events as a sort of like just dot and line system. It is interesting. I tried it for a while. I gave it a try. It wasn't like 4 months. Because I knew, like, almost from the instant that I was watching the explanation. You can watch explanations for all these online, by the way. Like, they're not like, you need this book to do this thing. Like, you really just need a book. And from the moment I was reading the explanation on how the bullet journal worked, I knew that I was gonna end up changing it. Because, kind of the same thing as the 5-minute journal, the bullet journal kind of sells itself as though like, oh, look at all these lists you have made of things you have done and things you want to do. And isn't it nice? And I think that for some people it may be effective. For me, it is absolutely not effective at all. Because when I look back on things, I've been here before, I've been down this road before. I look back on the lists and it's just lists. It's kind of impersonal. What I do like about the bullet journal, though, it's its way of doing like fast journaling. Though I must admit, because it has a system for tasks that need to happen, tasks that are completed, which are X'd on, tasks that have been scheduled, which I think has an arrow on it, and things that are just ideas, which are just lines. That I like. That simplicity is fine. There are a lot of other subsystems within the bullet journal that I think they're just completely out of place, or are ineffective for me. Because you know me, you know the way you know the way I design these videos. I like simplicity. Minimalism is my aesthetic. So when I'm reading overall the rules or how to use the bullet journal, or guidelines, they're not rules, the guidelines, I'm just going, okay, that's too much. I don't want all these subsystems. I just want to know what needs to be done and when it has been done. I will admit, because I'm making it sound as though I just threw everything of the bullet journal, like, out the window, and that's not true. That's actually how I do my tasks in the morning. I write them out as a bullet journal, but I treat them more as a disposable thing, because again, like, lists are kind of so impersonal, but that's how I sort out my work for that day. I just have like a piece of like scrap paper, and I just, you know, bullet what needs to happen, bullet what needs to happen, bullet what needs to happen, and as I go throughout the day, I start crossing them out or scheduling them. And at the end of the day, once everything's done, I just and the day's over. Now, there's gonna be a couple of different, I feel like this video is really odd, mostly because I'm assuming that you already know how these things work, but in a way, if I must spin this, I think the crux of this video is for you to take a moment and check out these systems, see what works for you, because remember, every writer is different. The thing that I've been saying throughout this entire channel's lifespan is that what I'm presenting here is merely just my advice, my opinion, and what works for me. Find what works for you. Try out these systems. I think they're actually pretty clever. Like the 5-minute journal and the productivity planner were engrossing enough or interesting enough that I used them for 4 months. That's a third of a year, until I realized that I wanted something more, and that's okay. That doesn't mean it's a failure or a waste of time. I tried something and I took what I enjoyed out of it. I've taken the lessons and I'm using them now in my daily diary entries, which I'm really enjoying a lot more. Sometimes you have to try out things to find out what you want and what you don't want. So for you out there, dear writerly friend out there, if you're looking for ways to be a much more effective person or more organized, and you're seeing all these other systems, well, here are my thoughts on them. Again, don't take them whole cloth. Take them, play with them, and see what works for you. Because ultimately, what is the goal here? Is to find something that works for you, that makes writing and living a little bit easier. Okay? I hope that this video helped, and I hope that if anything I gave you another point of view. Weird video, I know, but I wanted to get this out there because this was the video I wanted to start the year with, kind of a go get stuff done, you know, go get started with a new way of planning your year. And it didn't pan out that way because life. But here we are. Middle-ish of February, and life goes on. That's the video, though. For the time being, I want to thank you for tagging along, thank you for watching. If you have thoughts on this video, if you liked it, let me know in the comments down below, and remember to hit that like button, it actually means a lot. Additionally, as we're rolling out into the outro, if you enjoyed this video and want to make sure that I can continue on making it for the foreseeable future, please consider checking out my Patreon. You can get really cool perks like watching my videos early, or if Patron's not your cup of tea, how about a cup of coffee instead? This is not coffee. This is tea, because I don't drink coffee anymore. But I would appreciate a one-time donation. Link in the description down below. For the time being, formal outro right now on the screen. A playlist with a bunch of other videos right there. Patreon right here. Subscribe button right up there. Don't miss a single one of my videos. And a link to my other channel with Kitty, where we do really silly things. For the time being, thank you for tagging along, thank you for putting up with this ridiculous video setup for this week, I'm sorry. But things will be better next week, I promise. Thank you for tagging along, and I hope to see you on the next one.